We all leave one another. We die. We change, it's mostly change. We outgrow our best friends. But even if I do leave you, I will have passed on to you something of myself. You will be a different person because of knowing me. It's inescapable. I did not sleep. I never do when I am over unhappy, or in bed with a strange man. History is said to be written by the victors. Fiction, by contrast, is largely the work of injured bystanders. When anyone asks me about the Irish character, I say look at the trees, maimed, stark and misshapen, but ferociously tenacious. I am not kind. I cut people off as with shears and I drop them like nettles. What we forgot as children is that our parents are children. Also, the child in them has not been satisfied or met or loved often. Money talks, but tell me why. All it says is just goodbye. She said the reason that love is so painful is that it always amounts to two people wanting more than two people can give. For me to write, I have to be alone, and know that nobody is going to question me. I write the way a thief steals. It's a little covert. What matters is the imaginative truth. Books everywhere, on the shelves and on the small space, above the rows of books and all along the floor and under chairs. Books that I have read, books that I have not read. You're a right-looking Egypt. Writing is the product of a deeply disturbed psyche, and by no means therapeutic. Kindness, the most unkind thing of all. Recollection is not something that I can summon up. It simply comes, and I am the servant of it. I am obsessive. Also, I am industrious. Besides, the time when you are most alive and most aware is in childhood, and one is trying to recapture that heightened awareness. When you fall in love, it is spring no matter when. Leaves falling make no difference. They are from another season. I was lonelier than I should be. For a woman in love, or half in love, it is increasingly clear that the fate of the universe will come to depend more and more on individuals as the bungling of bureaucracy permeates every corner of our existence. That is the mystery about writing. It comes out of afflictions, out of the gouged times when the heart is cut open. After that dark woman, you search for someone who will fit into the irregular corners of your heart. There was I, devouring books, and yet allowing a man who had never read a book to walk me home for a bit of harmless fumbling on the front steps. Although one might seem relatively gregarious, the real self is at the desk, she said. It is a trial for relationships, for friendships. Every writer dreads losing the connection to the work, the momentum, and to keep it, you can't truly be sociable. Writers are always anxious, always on the run from the telephone, from responsibilities, from the distractions of the world. I hear stories. It could be myself telling them to myself, or it could be these murmurs that come out of the earth so old and haunted, so hungry and replete. It talks, things past and things yet to be. When something has been perfect, there is a tendency to try hard to repeat it. I tend not to look at the prison wall of life, but to look up at the sky as it is, more beautiful and more spacious. Try. Their eyes meet and part, each staring into the forlorn space, a shaft of disappointment. He because he is unable to help her, and she because she is thrown back into her own quagmire of uncertainty. Nothing but rules. Rule the first. No callers at the front door. Rule the second. No callers at the back door. Rule the third. No going out after dark. The 6 dusters had to be washed each evening and accounted for. We don't know others. They are an enigma. We can't know them, especially those we are most intimate with, because habit blurs us and hope blinds us to the truth. I crossed the room, and what you did was to feel my hair over and over again, and in different ways. Touch it with the palm of your hand. Felt it, strands of hair, with your fingers. Touched it as if it were cloth, the way a child touches its favorite surfaces. I knew I had done something awful. I had killed love before I even knew the enormity of what love meant. You would not believe how many words there are for home, and what savage music there can be wrung from it. Writers really live in the mind and in hotels of the soul. Yes, the living the mangled, the scarified with the crazed. Responsibility of remembering everything. The wall was a symbol of protests, inch upon inch covered with graffiti, in red, blue, yellow, purple, indigo, magenta, terracotta, a tableau of screaming indignations. There was always a real reason for everything. Why spoons tarnished, and jam furred, and people declined into God or drink, or card games. In our deepest moments, we say the most inadequate things. All my life I had feared imprisonment, the nun's cell, the hospital bed, the places where one faced the self without distraction, without the crutches of other people. Death in its way comes just as much of a surprise as birth. Wherever there were horses or ponies, the mushrooms always sprang up. Countries are either mothers or fathers, and engender the emotional bristle secretly, reserved for either sire. I know the mistake I am making. I see the exits in life. The night before I left home, there was the wake in our kitchen, as was the custom for anyone going so far away. The kitchen was full of people. 2 men left, their flash lamps lit. You have to be lonely to be a writer. In every question and every remark tossed back and forth between lovers who have not played out the last fugue, there is one question, and it is this: is there someone new? Darkness is drawn to light, but light does not know it. Light must absorb the darkness and therefore meet its own extinguishment. Josephine Edna O'Brien, born December 15, 1930, to farmer Michael O'Brien and Lena Cleary at Tuamgraney, County Clare, Ireland, a place she would later describe as fervid and enclosed. The family lived at Drewsborough, also Drewsborough, a large 2-story house which her mother kept in semi-grandeur. Edna O'Brien is an Irish novelist, memoirist, playwright, poet, and short story writer. Elected to EDNA by her fellow artists, she was honored with the title Sowie in 2015 and the biennial UK and Ireland Nobel David Cohen Prize in 2019, whilst France made her Commandeur de l'Ordre des Arts et des Lettres in 2021. O'Brien's works often revolve around the inner feelings of women and their problems in relating to men and to society as a whole. Her first novel, The Country Girls 1960, is often credited with breaking silence on sexual matters and social issues during a repressive period in Ireland following the Second World War. The book was banned, burned, and denounced from the pulpit. Faber and Faber published her memoir, Country Girl, in 2012. O'Brien lives in London. O'Brien has been mentioned as a candidate for the Nobel Prize in Literature. Philip Roth described her as the most gifted woman now writing in English, while a former President of Ireland, Mary Robinson, cited her as one of the great creative writers of her generation. Others to hail her as one of the greatest writers alive include John Bonville, Michael Ondaatje, and Sir Ian McKellen. O'Brien received the Irish PEN Award in 2001. Saints and Sinners won the 2011 Frank O'Connor International Short Story Award, the world's richest prize for a short story collection.